feeling like I'm Akademiks.
A bit, but yo, I gotta play. Did you see NBA Youngboy? Who, if you guys don't know the story, NBA Youngboy got caught basically during a prescription ring with his homies. And here is the 6 minute, like, he was in court for 6 minutes. He did get a bond. I know a lot of fans are excited about him possibly getting out. I'm going to tell y'all to chill out with y'all expectations, because here's the reality of it. He got a bond in state court, or like, local court. They revoked his bond in federal court. So that cozy house arrest that he was allowed with the guards and everything up on Gravedigger Mountain, the feds already said, we're rescinding this and you have to tell us why we should give you it back. So I don't know. I don't think the feds are impressed by money. Obviously, the state is going to treat this as, hey, you haven't done any crimes in Utah, so we're going to see whatever, and we're going to give you a bond. The feds are going to take this as a slap in the face. They're going to weigh a lot of things. Yo, the prosecutor came to court saying that they officially asked you to stop doing drugs, and you told them, no, I won't. Your reason was that everything you were doing was legal and within the law. The prosecutors felt concerned for your health and your well-being, and they thought you were abusing drugs while you were supposed to be in a controlled environment in house arrest. Now that they have seen that you have caught charges, 63 of them to be exact, that you are doing all type of, manipulative things with perhaps prescription, this and third. Yes, you got a bond on the state level, but they might be less inclined to give you back the same cozy environment with your own guards, and basically you just got to call into your PO, or your PO come check on you every now and then. They might want to be like, no house arrest, or maybe stricter house arrest protocols. Now, here's the thing. Two things going for Youngboy. And by the way, this is not the Fed hearing yet. The Fed hearing is going to happen in Louisiana. But two things. He's been on house arrest for 2 years, so it's going to look like it's exorbitant if you still are trying to keep him in jail. He still hasn't gone to trial in 2 years. And also, I think whatever stipulations they might try to ramp up some more stipulations, like, yo, you got to pay for this, that, and third. A living fucking person to monitor you. Youngboy has the resources. He's rich as shit. And he will probably be able to do that unless they just say no bond. So this is the first one. He did get a bond. It's $100,000. Let's see how the court hearing went. All right. I sped it up a little. Here we go. By the way, does he look a little emaciated? Usually once you start seeing the cheekbones, he looks really thin. Some people might say drugs. Some people might just be like, yo, that's just how he's always built. Anyway. All right. They holler at him real quick. They probably told him shut the fuck up. We're going to handle this.
Court for the First Judicial District of the State of Utah and for the County of Cache is now in session. The Honorable Judge Spencer D. Walton is presiding. You may be seated.
All right, good morning. Let's call the case of State of Utah versus Cantrell Deshaun Galden.
Wow, they're really into this pretty quickly.
Case 241100468. Counsel, please state your names for the record.
Aaron Jossie for the state. Drew Finling and Zach Finling on behalf of Mr. Golden.
Who's his lawyer?
Drew Finling.
Oh, hey, didn't we tell you, chat? By the way, he is a Drew Finland, right? Drew Finland. I think he's out of Atlanta, right? He's out of Atlanta. Remember, he's one of the big three in Atlanta, right? We have Brian Steele, Sado, and Drew Finland. Big three. So if you're arrested and you want to get off, it don't even matter if you killed a nigga, okay? Actually, I'm joking. Don't take this serious. But if you do any offense, you need one of the big three lawyers, especially in Atlanta. He's one of the big three. But these guys have so much vast reach that this is Utah. And this is not Atlanta. And usually you want to get somebody who's really good in that precinct. And you see, he's probably, I don't know how the certification goes for like other places, but he's represented him in Utah, which is kind of crazy, right? Usually, like for example, I have a case in New York. I wouldn't use my New York lawyer for a case in Jersey or a case in Florida, right? You want to get, it's local shit, right? Anyway.
Zach Nolan on behalf of Mr. Golden.
All right, we're here
And there's this other lawyer. I could imagine this one's probably local, but this is probably the head attorney, right?
today for a preliminary hearing and a bail hearing. I've had the opportunity to meet with the attorneys in chambers, and it does appear that there has been some type of arrangement reached between the parties. Mr. Findling, would you like to go ahead and state that for the record, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, counsel for the state and myself have been in negotiation really since yesterday, but throughout this morning, and I've explained those negotiations to Mr. Golden. We are going to waive a preliminary hearing in this matter. In exchange for that, a bond will be set at $100,000. Mr. Golden will be able to use a commercial company to make that bond. That will be an aggregate bond covering everything in total, as contained in the charging instrument.
Hey, yo, let me tell you this, and I feel bad for like people who don't have money and resources. Look what just happened. His lawyer is basically telling the judge what they have already agreed to before getting in court. He's like, yo, we're just going to waive this preliminary hearing. Or this might be the arraignment, but we're waiving this preliminary hearing where they got to present facts and kind of like show why he's going to have to go to trial. We're waiving it. We're realizing this is going to go to trial. And the reason we're waiving it is because we cut a deal with the prosecutor who says we could get this guy out of jail for $100,000. Right? Like, bro, this is what money does, bro.
Your Honor, counsel for the state and myself have been in negotiation.
Usually, you would see the state present this to the judge, except his defense attorneys present this.
Really since yesterday, but throughout this morning, and I've explained those negotiations to Mr. Golden. We are going to waive a preliminary hearing in this matter. In exchange for that, a bond will be set at $100,000. Mr. Golden will be able to use a commercial company to make that bond. That will be an aggregate bond covering everything in total, as contained in the charging instrument.
Hey, and I know some of y'all are probably in here be like, yo, why Youngboy keep getting in trouble? Do you understand the life of the rich and the famous? Yo, $100,000 is like a drop in a bucket for Youngboy. Like, he shits out $100,000, right? Of course you're gonna do whatever the fuck you want to do, even though house arrest. You're gonna do what you want. If you know, even if you get caught, you just gotta hit him with a little 100 pack, and you're back on the streets. Like, for anybody else, they're not getting out, right? You know what I mean? So again, if some of y'all be like, yo, Youngboy's just dumb, he just keeps getting in trouble, he keeps getting a million chances. Well, when you have a lot of money and you have a lot of resources, like, you just look at this as just another formality. All right, let me pay this shit and get out, man.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Findling. Mr. Keller, does that accurately represent the agreement that's been reached between the state and Mr. Golden?
Yes, it does, Your Honor.
All the prosecutor just said was agree with this nigga.
All right. Mr. Golden, have you had enough time to speak to your attorneys about this decision to waive your right to your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right. You understand that the standard at a preliminary hearing is a much lower burden of proof that the government would have to meet than at trial. So instead of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, it's a lower burden of proof, which is there a reasonable belief that a crime was committed by you? And the court has to view all the evidence that it would receive in the light most favorable to the government, to the prosecution. Understanding that legal standard and having had discussions with your attorneys, do you hereby waive your right to your preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right. The court finds that Mr. Golden has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to his preliminary hearing. He will be bound over for trial on all the charges set forth in the information, the charging document in this case. Bail will be set through stipulation of the parties at $100,000. That will be bondable. And in talking to the attorneys, it sounds like they would like to set this out for an arraignment at a later.
Hey, so that's Yaya right here, right? Yo, I ain't gonna lie. Yo, Yaya love her some Cantrell, bro.
The information, the charging document in this case. Bail will be set through stipulation of the parties at $100,000. That will be bondable. And in talking to the attorneys.
Yeah, that's Yaya. Yo, she here like a supportive wife. taking notes. She got her glasses on. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, Yaya. I don't think she liked me for whatever reason. Yaya, you a good woman, man. Like, you showing up to court to defend your man that's married to somebody else. He your baby daddy. You taking notes. You down to stab a bitch over him. Man, I hope that nigga did something for you on Mother's Day, man. You a real one. You a real one.
It sounds like they would like to set this out for an arraignment at a later point in time. Mr. Finley, would you like to go ahead and articulate anything specific related to that?
Yes, Your Honor, as discussed in chambers, and I explained to Mr. Golden, even if it's set up for arraignment, say in 60 days, the court has made it clear through discussion with counsel, if there is a resolution well before then, we're welcome to come back before Your Honor at any point in the future.
Okay, very good. So we'll set Mr. Golden's arraignment out in about 60 days. That arraignment would take place through WebEx. We'll have Mr. Golden brought here to the courthouse, and then if Mr. Finley would like to appear remotely for that hearing, he may do so. Also, if the attorneys reach some sort of resolution prior to those 60 days expiring, then just reach out to Angie, and we'll get that on my calendar in a timely fashion.
Yo, basically, this judge is bending over backwards for Youngboy's lawyer. Yo, if you don't even want to show up and you want to get on Zoom, like, that's cool. If you just want to hit me last minute and I'll put it on my calendar, yeah, that's cool too. Hey, chat, get y'all some money, real talk, because justice only favors the rich. And that's why when you see a rich nigga go guilty, that nigga really did some shit.
Angie, a date about 60 days out for that arraignment on a Monday morning, probably. July 1st, at what time? 9? Okay, so that would be July 1st at 9 a.m. or 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time, whatever you'd prefer.
Either one.
Okay, let's do 9 a.m. Does that work for the state?
It does, yes.
All right, Mr. Golden, your arraignment will be July 1st, 9 a.m. You'll be brought over from the Cache County Jail, assuming that you're still incarcerated. If not, you'd be able to appear remotely for that hearing as well, or appear in person, whatever your preference would be. Is there anything else that needs to be stated on the record here today, counsel?
On behalf of Mr. Golden.
Nothing further from the state. All right, with that, we'll conclude this hearing. Court is adjourned.
Pretty quick, in and out. My boy, he's smiling still. He good. Nah, he good. He good. He good. Like, again, you know, what I believe is gonna happen is that I don't know if the feds is gonna allow him to go back to that situation though. The feds were getting upset already. I forgot when the hearing is for that. Let me see. NBA Youngboy federal hearing. He has a hearing that is. Let me see. Let me see. The judge wanted to hear him. That's the pretrial shit. I can't remember when. When is the federal hearing? Because I know people think he's gonna. Utah judge. Let me see. NBA Youngboy. Let me see. I'm trying to see that date. Or revoked. Here we go. Okay, here we go. A federal judge, blah, 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 blah. They said that they want him to take him into custody until a bond revocation hearing is scheduled. And this is going to be for the federal part of it. Like, again, if you guys don't know, like, he has the federal and a state, so he has to work with both at this point. So that's 2 weeks ago. Let's see. We got to see. Okay, his hearing is scheduled for July 2024. So essentially, he can't get out before July 2024. He's going to spend all of May in jail, and he's going to spend, even if he has 100,000, which he clearly does, he's going to spend all of July. No, actually, that's a trial date. What the fuck? My bad. Am I tripping? No, that's a trial date. I'm tripping. On Thursday, a motion was filed. Yeah, and it was approved. All right, I'll get the date when his hearing's supposed to be. But we do know that the feds have to also approve it before he can get back out. Okay, cool. All right. Is there anything else outside of this